everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today we are continuing my Harry Potter review series where I go back, I'll watch the films after I haven't watched them for quite a while, and I'm rewatching them. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Today we're on the 5th film in the series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was released in 2007. It was once again under new direction, this time by David Yates. Once again, different composer, this time by Nicholas Hooper. Stars many of the familiar old faces: Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Helena Bonham Carter, Robbie Coltrane, Warwick Davis, Ralph Fiennes, Michael Gambon, Brendan Gleeson, Richard Griffiths, Jason Isaacs, Gary Oldman, Alan Rickman, Fiona Shaw, Maggie Smith, Imelda Staunton, David Thewlis, Emma Thompson, and Julie Waters. So when we last left off, Harry had just come face to face with Voldemort, Cedric Diggory had just died, and everybody had gone home relatively happy for some reason for the summer vacation. So to pick this film off, automatically, we are introduced very quickly into the plot. Harry is being bullied by Dudley and his gang. Dudley's mentioning that Harry is talking in his sleep, talking about Cedric and Voldemort. Harry is obviously affected by PTSD in this film. We jump straight from that to a Dementor attack where Harry has to use the Patronus charm in front of Dudley to save him, which results in him getting expelled from Hogwarts, but then the Order of the Phoenix, which is a secret society created by Dumbledore to fight off against Voldemort, rescues Harry from his house, takes him to the headquarters, which is Sirius Black's old house. All while this is happening, Harry feels very cut off from the world, as well as from Dumbledore. None of his friends have talked to him because Dumbledore made them promise not to talk to him at all. He wants to jump into the fight against Voldemort. He feels like he's being held back by not knowing anything. Also, the Ministry is trying to make Harry and Dumbledore look like liars because they don't want to admit that Voldemort's back. It would cause mass hysteria, whatever it was. The Ministry is going to have a hearing to see if Harry is actually expelled or not. Harry gets to the hearing. Dumbledore is Harry's defense attorney. Harry's cleared of all charges, and this is the first 20 minutes of the film. One of the great dynamics of this film is the fact that Harry is always trying to become more independent, but the other characters that are around him are also growing with him. Goblet of Fire was very much about how Harry needed his friends to help him through a lot of these tasks, but when it came to him facing Voldemort, he was all by himself. And in this film, Harry is trying to do things by himself, and he's constantly surrounded by his friends who are trying to help him. Things get a little bit darker at Hogwarts. A new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is introduced, this time Dolores Umbridge. She is a representative from the Ministry of Magic who doesn't want the kids to use spells in class. She instead states that if you learn the theory well enough, you'll know how to use it if a real-world situation came up. So Harry gets into an argument with Dolores Umbridge, saying that Voldemort is back. Umbridge puts him in detention. She makes him right with his own blood. I mean, she's a complete bitch. McGonagall finds out about what Umbridge has done. She confronts her, and then Umbridge decides, you know what, this school needs new rules. So she starts declaring all these different things, these different rules. She's also watching the teachers and seeing how well they're teaching, if they're up to Ministry Code or not. Once again, Alan Rickman has one of the best scenes. She's interviewing Snape about how he got his job. Snape just doesn't give a single shit. Watching Alan Rickman in the back of scenes has become one of my new hobbies while I'm watching these films. He's got incredibly funny reactions to things. Even if it's not the forefront of what's going on, he's still in the background doing something funny. She tries to kick out Professor Trelawney, and then Dumbledore's like, you know what, no, you can't do that. And so Umbridge starts creating more and more rules. Harry, Ron, and Hermione feel like they need to start doing something to revolt against this, because they feel like if we can't practice and use defensive spells, how will we ever be prepared for the real world when this war that we know is coming eventually comes? They create a secret society called Dumbledore's Army, where Harry is now their teacher. He's teaching these kids all these new spells and defensive things, and all these kids group up for like their first meeting, and they're talking about how great Harry is. Harry downplays it all. He's like, you know what, no, I was just really lucky. This and this happened. These plot conveniences happened. And they even admit that, so, I mean, that was good of them. Meanwhile, Harry keeps having these nightmares of this hallway, of Voldemort, and one night he has a dream where he ends up being Nagini, and he attacks Arthur Weasley. They find out what's going on, they save Arthur Weasley, and Dumbledore tells Snape that they need to start teaching Harry how to block off his mind because Voldemort has made a connection with Harry to where Voldemort can now read Harry's thoughts and vice versa. And then Harry has a really good heart-to-heart moment with Sirius, where Sirius tells him that not everybody is good or bad. There's light and dark in everybody, which is actually really good advice. Umbridge finds out about Dumbledore's army, confronts Harry, they round up all the members. They try to arrest Dumbledore because Dumbledore takes the blame for it, and then Dumbledore dips out.
You may not like him, Minister, but you can't deny Dumbledore's got style.
So now the school just sucks. Umbridge is the new headmaster. She's making all of the Dumbledore's army people right with their own blood, and she's punishing kids, and she hates. Hogwarts sucks. We're also introduced to Hagrid's giant brother Grop, who plays an important part later on. So Fred and George decide that they're going to escape. They're going to leave Hogwarts. They're done. They set off all these fireworks. And then while this is happening, Harry has a vision of Sirius being tortured by Voldemort. Harry tries to go save Sirius. Umbridge catches them. So Snape walks in, and Umbridge tells Snape to basically make Harry tell the truth with a truth potion. Snape says he doesn't have any. Harry tells Snape in the best code that he can that Sirius has been taken by Voldemort, where whatever the weapon is hidden. So Snape gets the message and alerts the Order. Meanwhile, Hermione has the great idea to send Umbridge into the forest where the Centaurs and Grop are, and they both end up taking her away. Neville, Luna, Ginny, Harry, Ron, and Hermione all head off to the Ministry. They enter the Hall of Prophecies and the Department of Mysteries. The Death Eaters show up, including Bellatrix Lestrange and Lucius Malfoy. They end up getting the prophecy, which informs Harry that neither Harry or Voldemort can live while the other one survives, which basically means in the end, one of them has to kill each other. Then the Death Eaters end up overwhelming the kids, and that's when the Order of the Phoenix show up. We have this really epic battle. Sirius ends up dying, and this scene actually is extremely emotional. Bellatrix kills Sirius. Harry then runs after Bellatrix, he uses the Cruciatus Curse on her. Voldemort tries to antagonize Harry, and then Dumbledore shows up, and the best duel in Harry Potter happens. Dumbledore faces off against Voldemort, and Voldemort ends up knowing he's probably going to lose to Dumbledore, so he possesses Harry's body, and he's making Harry think all these awful things, and then Harry reminds him that Harry has something that Voldemort would never have, and that's love and friendship. And then the Ministry shows up. Minister of Magic Fudge sees Voldemort, finally admits that he's back, and then they're back off to Hogwarts. Umbridge has been taken away from Hogwarts. Dumbledore is back as headmaster. We have a moment where Dumbledore is talking to Harry, and Harry is asking him, well, why didn't you ever tell me I was going to have to kill Voldemort? And Dumbledore says, I didn't want to put too much on you at once. It's a lot of pressure. I feel like you've already been through a lot, and I care too much about you. And I like that in this film. We start to see some of the flaws that Dumbledore has as a character. I think it was very effective to show that. Of course, they're all leaving, and it's a bit of another happy scene, kind of like Goblet of Fire, except it's a bit more somber. And Harry is explaining to Ron and Hermione they have something that Voldemort doesn't, which is something worth fighting for, implying that once again that love is a very important factor that they have that Voldemort doesn't. And the film wraps up. Right off the bat, the visual effects are actually pretty great in this. There's a flying scene early on, which looks really, really good. The fireworks scene looks good. A lot of the Dumbledore's armies meeting scenes look really good, though they're casting all these different spells and such. There is some good humor in the film. Gary Oldman and Alan Rickman's presence alone in this film elevates it, and they're really interesting characters. Sirius Black and Snape alone are really fun characters to watch while they're on screen. Luna's introduced in this film. Luna's a fun character. She's weird, she's wacky, but she's still fun. And they expand upon the lore in this a little bit more, and they show a couple of different cool things. However, this film suffers a lot from things that Goblet of Fire suffered from. This film is only 2 hours and 18 minutes long. And this is the longest Harry Potter book out of the entire series. It's like 800 plus pages. While the film works as a whole, you can watch it, it makes sense and everything. So much of it also just feels rushed. Character moments happen and they don't go on for long enough, so they don't have quite the impact that maybe they should have. I think the one thing they really got right in this was Sirius Black and Harry Potter's relationship. Sirius is essentially the father figure that Harry has. So they have good scenes together. I wish they had more scenes together, but they do a good job with what they have. It makes me wish that in Goblet of Fire they had also established their relationship more. Molly Weasley also becomes more of a mother figure to Harry in this, and I really did like that. Watching that again especially, I saw this and it became very apparent that's what she had become. The one thing that they kind of skipped over, which isn't a fault of the movie, it's also a fault of the book, is the Harry and Cho relationship. It's very short-lived. It's not very important, and at the end of the day, it's not impactful at all really on the story, besides Harry's first kiss. But sometimes the pacing just feels weird. Sometimes it's extremely fast, and we'll have these handheld shots of Harry and Dudley running, and this fast, the Mentors are attacking, and all this stuff is happening, and it's all very fast-paced. And then we'll sludge along in some of these scenes where it seems to just drag on, and I don't know why that is. I just noticed that while watching it. I was like, can we just get to that final battle already? I'm so done with this. It's just a problem that this series I feel like started to have. It's just that feeling of like this This isn't necessarily like wonderful and magical anymore. This is a much more serious and gritty world. It's no fault of the movie particularly, but it just made me really miss like the earlier films where things were just happier and they're more magical and it was fun. And then one other small flaw was that there is literally no Quidditch in this, which I understand. You know, you want to cut it for time, but it would have been a great character moment. In the book, Harry really becomes really close with the Weasley family. Like he's extremely like they're already family. And the Quidditch scene in the book, Malfoy is picking on Harry's dead mom and then the Weasley's mom, and then Fred, George, and Harry all just beat the shit out of Draco. They all get banned from Quidditch by Umbridge, but it's an important character moment, at least for me, because it shows that they're all like they're like brothers basically. They're all going together. Once again, like it's not up to me. The film still works as a whole. I still think it's an enjoyable film to watch, but I feel like if they missed a couple of these key beats, key moments, that overall the film experience was not as good as I wish it could have been. The film alone, because of all the build-up that it builds up to, that last 15 minutes is actually really, really good. So I would at least watch the film just so you can get that last 15 minutes worth. Alright guys, so that was Order of the Phoenix. I'm going to be covering a lot of different stuff soon, so look forward to that. Go watch Order of the Phoenix. It is enjoyable to watch. There's a really good last 15 minutes, like I said. I don't know, drink a Pepsi or something. Y'all have a safe day. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay healthy. I will see you guys later. Bye.